Let's go back to see where Pearl got her lady boner for murder. She's just a small-town girl living in a lonely world, having dreams of becoming a Hollywood dancer. But first, she has to get rid of the pesky people getting in her way. Get ready to see some pearly whites in Pearl Begins. Hello there, you loose units, and welcome back to another episode of Spicy Boy Reviews. I'm, of course, your host, Andrew Iles. The long-awaited horror film Pearl, here directed by Ty West, who directed the previous film X, which is Pearl is a prequel, X is a sequel, you get the picture. We open the film on some sweeping Hollywood golden age classic music. Pearl is in the barn, dancing with the devil in the pale moonlight, pirouetting around the farm and the barn until she's rudely interrupted by a goose. So Pearl does what comes naturally to her and impaling the goose, killing it, and then feeding it to her alligator. Seems what's bad for the goose is good for the gander. Then she's interrupted by her overbearing German mother, and she's having none of it! She tells Pearl to get her head out of the clouds, stop this tomfoolery, and go do her bloody chores. Pearl spends most of her days looking after her catatonic, wheelchair-bound father. He's this way because of a stroke, and she's pretty much his carer most of her days. We discover that the time is 1918 and World War I rages on in France. Pearl's husband Howard is over in France fighting those pesky Germans while Pearl is at home on the farm dealing with one herself. We discover that there's a pandemic afoot, the Spanish flu if memory serves, and so everyone has to get around wearing masks.
A little on the nose, don't you think?
This film was written in quarantine while the cast and crew were waiting to get the go-ahead to film the other film, X. So while they're in quarantine, Ty West decided to write this film. So I see what you're doing, movie, with this influenza thing, as subtle as a sledgehammer. Pearl then rides into town to get Papa his medicine, and while she's there, she decides to take in a moving picture of a dancing troupe. We discover that Pearl has dreams and aspirations. She wants to get off the farm and move away from this shitty little small town and become a dancer in Hollywood, making a name for herself in lights. This sounds familiar. She then meets a handsome projectionist at the cinema who takes a liking to Pearl and says that she can come by and watch a free movie anytime she wishes. On the ride home, Pearl ends up in a field of wheat where she gets some hay fever and starts dry humping a scarecrow. You see, Dorothy was just a crow tease. Pearl gets it done. It's clear by this scenario that she has urges, and not just the bloodlust kind. We then meet Pearl's sister-in-law, who gives her some information that there is an audition held at the local church for a new dance troupe. And this is Pearl's chance, her time to shine, her ticket out of this crappy little town. And one late night, Pearl sneaks out of the farm and goes to see the handsome projectionist, where he shows her a foreign film. Yes, it is a porno, and the projectionist states that this is the future of cinema. This is where the industry's going, and he wants a piece of this pie. All because the industry is going to blow up. Foreshadowing! The film establishes that our protagonist here, Pearl, is in a less than pleasant scenario with her life. Although the first film was a bit of a hearken or a love letter to like slashers from the 70s, this film was more of a slow burn character study. We see Pearl descending into her madness, or embracing it, if you will. But apparently she's been showing signs of psychopathy since she was a child. Her mother states that she hid her away on the farm, isolated from the public because she had a lady boner for killing animals, even at a young age. She has this underlying sense of cruelness in her. Yet, if anything, this isolation on the farm made things worse and escalate her madness. The eagerness to escape, locked away from the real world. And yeah, it just gives her a heart of bloodlust, I suppose. I see what you're doing here, movie. But then Pearl becomes more and more unhinged, more and more desperate to get out and to quench her urges. And then it becomes a domino effect, and then the murder begins. Pearl is a victim of her time period. She's a modern woman, I guess, on the inside, minus the murder. And she's frustrated with her given circumstances. It's all boiling to the surface. And she's willing to escape at any cost. We saw a very similar thing with Maxine in the first film of X, also played by Mia Goth. However, she was pushed into killing and murder for survival. There's some exquisite long takes as well. Just in a frame, you see things play out that are really unsettling and super tense. And Mia Goth as the lead, holy shit, this actress is phenomenal. There's one full, long, 7-minute take that doesn't cut away, and she delivers this monologue that's heartbreaking and heart-wrenching, captivating. Mia Goth acts the fucking shit out of it. And I hate to throw this term around, but hey, it's definitely Oscar-worthy. It's what we call in the industry a truthful performance. Mia Goth fits both time periods absolutely perfect. There's just something about her look that's sort of otherworldly, or at least vintage in a way. You know, she was perfect in the 70s, in X, and now in the 1900s. She plays the perfect balance of playing innocence and psychopathic narcissism. The film is beautifully shot too, a lot of really vibrant colours. And the score is absolutely excellent. Sometimes it's sort of golden age of Hollywood, you know, the sweeping score, and then it goes sort of Hitchcockian at other times. But this golden age of Hollywood score that is so beautifully done in this film is sort of it feels like a harken back, again, to the golden age of Hollywood. You know, films like Giant, East of Eden, and Gone with the Wind. Well, actually, sorry, that last film was cancelled, so forget I said anything. Apparently there's going to be a third film in this franchise now, I guess, based in the 80s, based around Maxine again. Clever. This film was great. I really, really liked it. I was really pumped about it when I heard it was announced. And when it was announced, I think, while X was still out. Again, it's more of a slow burn and a character study. But for me, I like that sort of stuff. You know, I was in the perfect mood for it. But don't get me wrong by saying it's a slow character study. It is still a horror film. We do get some gore. But the feel of the horror in this film is sort of like Norman Bates from Psycho, or, you know, the Sawyer family from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Very unsettling, very tense, but yes, an awesome character study. Anyway, guys, that's my review of Pearl. I was really excited to see it. And yeah, both films released in the same year, I believe. Awesome. And yes, very pumped for the third film, Maxine. Guys, write down below if you've seen Pearl or if you're excited about it. And yeah, where you want to see this franchise go, or at least in the third film. And if you, of course, made it this far into the episode, please give me a thumbs up, because your love and support just keeps me going, because I just love movies, and I assume you do as well. And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe icon, because we give out episodes weekly, and we'll see you back here next week for the next review, and until then, stay spooky, kids.